Hello, loves. Today I'm going to be talking to the men and women, but primarily addressing the women. And men, if you're listening, take note of this. I posted something on Facebook and I was asked to do a podcast on it. So, what I've come to know over my many years is that I really love being in my feminine energy. Doesn't mean all women have to be in their feminine energy. And when you're in your feminine energy, you're not going to always be there. Sometimes you go into masculine energy mode. But for some of us, being in our feminine energy feels wonderful. It feels freeing. It feels expressive and present. And when I'm in my feminine energy fully, it feels so alive in me that I'm able to express myself in many different ways. It's yummy for me. And every woman gets to decide what that is for her. But I notice for me, when I'm in my masculine too long, it's draining, extremely. And when I'm in my feminine energy, it's building my energy up. I feel more full. And this is such a controversial subject, right? So many people have different opinions about what feminine energy is. And I'm very clear on what it is for me. And so I'm sharing that with you. But at no point is being in my feminine energy asking for it. I'm not asking for sex. I'm not asking to be touched without consent. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just expressing myself fully. And a lot of men misunderstand the feminine energy. And when they are attracted to a woman in her feminine energy, it feels like an invitation to them. Clearly, it's not from my perspective. I'm just experiencing life in a presence that a lot of men are attracted to. And if you're a woman that loves being in her feminine energy and it feels fulfilling to you, it feels energizing to you, there's some things you need to be aware of. Men who tend to lean towards masculine energy are going to be attracted to feminine energy. It's the polarities. So you may get attention, sometimes a lot of attention. And that's not an invitation for them to just whatever, touch you, want to dance with you, want to have sex with you, any of those things. And so it's important to understand that you have to have strong boundaries when you're in your feminine energy, when you're out and about. It's important to have the ability to say no and mean it. The ability to show someone that you don't want to be touched, unless you do. But consent is always really important, isn't it? Not just walk up. Like I've experienced and have a man just walk up to you and put his hand on your thigh. It's not okay. It's not appropriate. Just because I'm in my feminine energy doesn't mean that it's an invitation for you to put your hand on my thigh. I've had men absolutely grab my arm and pull me into them because they felt my strong feminine energy. And that's not all right either. So there's a lot of assumptions in the minds of men when they see women fully in their feminine energy. And they're very attracted to it. And that's their problem. And I'm not saying this to be unkind. I'm saying if you're a man and you're attracted to that feminine energy, it's not something that you just assume it's okay to do because you feel that. That's something you need to take care of within yourself. If you're deeply attracted to that, um, you know, do what you would do in a situation where you get consent from someone in any other situation. Just because you're deeply attracted to it and it possibly might turn you on is not a green light. It doesn't mean women are asking for it. And of course, if you're a woman and you are asking for it and you want it, that's wonderful. Go for that. But it shouldn't be void of consent. I can dance, I can play, I get silly, I get totally in the moment. It'd be very fun to be around when I'm in my feminine energy. I'm soft and I'm expressive. I love that when I'm able to do that. And I also have to have, as I said, strong boundaries. I have to have language to use. And I have to be aware of my surroundings. I know it shouldn't have to be that way, but it is. And also, let's talk about the difference between feminine energy, being receptive and open and soft and submissive. Because sometimes submissive gets used when people are talking about feminine energy. And there's a difference for me. I'm not submissive when I'm in my feminine energy. I have an opinion, I have a voice, I have boundaries. And at no time is me being in my feminine energy mean that I'm just going to do whatever I'm told because of a dominant man. So we have to be careful when we use these terms because people internalize what submissive means. Now, certainly if you're into BDSM, go for it. BDSM is all about consent. And so two people consent to BDSM, or they should. Anyway, it should be consensual. It should not be forced. And that's submissive. But when we're talking about a woman walking around the world in her feminine energy, she's not submissive unless she just doesn't have boundaries and she just does whatever a dominant man comes up and tells her to do. And that's being passive and obedient. So for me, being in my feminine energy means I'm open, I'm receptive, I have a voice, and I have boundaries. And yes, I can be soft and I can be playful and all of the things that I am. I feel deeply when I'm in my feminine energy. And when I feel deeply, that could be a lot of joy or it could be a lot of sadness because I'm present with whatever's happening in the moment. There's a big difference between domination and submission and being in your feminine energy. And I sometimes use the metaphor of dancing, ballroom dancing, which I'd love to do. When I'm dancing, I'm following because that's the role I choose to be in. I don't choose to be the leader in ballroom dancing, I choose to be the follower. And so when I'm dancing with a man, I follow his lead. I'm open and receptive and flowing and allowing him to guide me. And this is the big part, and if at any time he is leading me into the direction that I do not want to go, I stop. Just because I'm following his lead doesn't mean that I don't have an opinion. Doesn't mean I don't have boundaries. Doesn't mean I don't get to voice my, no, I don't want to go that direction. Because I absolutely do. Because that form of dance isn't about domination. So there's a difference between leading and following and dominating and submission. So if you are a woman that enjoys being in her feminine energy and you're working towards being in your feminine energy more because it makes you feel more alive and energized, that's wonderful. Do that. And also notice that there are certain things you have to be aware of, because it's important that you're safe, that you feel safe being in your feminine energy, and that you don't feel like every time you're in your feminine energy, some man is going to want to take advantage of that. And men are confused about what feminine energy is. A lot of them equate it to centuries old traditions where the man tells the woman what to do. He's the leader of the house and she doesn't have any say. And that's not what feminine energy is. And that's centuries old. Can we just drop that? Partnership isn't about domination, unless it is. But in a conscious relationship, you want to be aware of the dynamics and make choices. And let me just say, if masculine feminine energy is not the type of relationship you want, then please don't choose that. There's no shame in that. Just like there's no shame in choosing masculine feminine energy dynamics in a relationship. And if you prefer more androgynous relationship styles, that's wonderful. Do that. If you want to take turns and that makes you feel everything is more equal and that's what gives you energy and happiness, do that. And if you're a woman that prefers being in her masculine energy and you like to lead, you like to plan the dates, you like to do all of the things, do that. And you might find that it might be better for you to be paired with a man that's more in his feminine energy. Because I've heard women tell me this before, that they are in their masculine energy. They prefer that. And they're wanting a masculine energy man to match with. And that's going to be really hard because masculine energy men do not want masculine energy women. It's the polarities that attract, that make the chemistry, the heightened sense of desire. And so otherwise, it's going to be two masculine energy people butting heads. Likewise, and I've done this before in the past, I've been in a relationship with a feminine energy man, and I'm a feminine energy woman, and I felt like we were competing all the time. There was a lack of desire there. It was flat. And I didn't like the competitiveness of it. And so that was a huge lesson for me. At that point, I woke up and decided, oh, I really can't be in a relationship with a man that's in his feminine energy because of that. So it's about making conscious choices about the kind of relationship we want. And whatever you choose is amazing if it works for you. And so on social media, you're hearing all kinds of things about what masculinity means, the dominating, the submission aspect of it. And I'm asking you to really question that. If you want to be in a dominant relationship and you want to be submissive and just do what you're told, that's great. If that works for you, if you feel it's healthy for you. But really sit with that. Is it healthy for you to not really have an opinion, to not really have a say? And let's be aware of the subtle signs of a dominating man and watch how they call it masculine because they're confused. They don't understand that domination is not what masculine energy is. And I've even heard women tell me, oh, my man does this, but he's not masculine, as if masculine is a bad word now. No, it's not a bad word. It's just how people have distorted it. There's nothing wrong with being masculine as long as you don't use it to be controlling, manipulative, coercive, dominating. True masculine man leads, and a leader takes into consideration the opinion, desires, and wants of the person that they're leading. And back to the ballroom dancing metaphor. A man who is leading a woman in ballroom dancing is taking into consideration her pace, her desires, her abilities, and he's thinking ahead of what the next step is going to be. And he has to take her needs into consideration. It's not a just grab her and force her to go the direction that you want her to go, because that makes the dance look awkward. It's not flowing. It's not teamwork. So as a woman, again, if you love being in your feminine energy, that's amazing. I love it too. And I want you to be really careful about who you allow into that feminine energy, because it can make a difference. I hope that helps. That's all the time we have for today. Until next time, stay conscious, pay attention, and if you don't, notice.